Hello and welcome back, everybody. I am so excited for today's episode. We are sitting down with Lisa Bilyeu, who is an absolute legend. I'm excited to share her story. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so excited for this one. I have to say, Lisa, your haircut is what I aspire my hair to look like.
That's amazing.
Sweet.
So we just sat down and I was like, okay, well, what if you don't make any decisions at home? You don't decide what you wear, what you eat. Leave that to me. So as a partnership, I'm going to take care of that. You're going to take care of everything at work. And now we've got this partnership where we're building something together. It seemed like a great plan. Now, what I didn't realize that would end up being 8 years of me being a housewife. So from the first year, I was enthusiastic. I was excited. I was like, okay, I've got a purpose. I've got a mission. It's to support each other, to support my husband. I'm going to cook. I'm going to clean. I'm going to put out all his clothes. Literally, he would wake up in the morning. Clothes would be set out for him for the gym. He would get changed. He would come home from the gym. Clothes would be set out for him for work. And I took pride in that because I was like, we're building something together. Like I said, what I didn't realize was that would be 8 years of me then becoming a housewife. And it didn't dawn on me. It was one of those day by day, step by step. One thing happened, the next thing happened, one day turned into the next. I found joy in the smallest things that I possibly could to give myself validation for what I was doing. So I would cook, which I hated cooking, but I would give myself, coach myself into be like, no, it's for the bigger purpose. But after 8 years, it basically came to a head where I was like, I'm miserable. My husband hates this life that he's leading now. This business life is, money is taking over him. And I don't like seeing him that way. So this big plan that we had of these big grand goals, it's not leading a life of satisfaction. So then we played, okay, what would that look like? And Quest was born. He started with his business partners, and initially I was again just a housewife, and he turned to me and he's like, do you mind shipping from my bed from our living room floor? So I'd started actually Quest Nutrition thinking I was just going to help out, and it turned out I was shipping 1 or 2 orders from my living room floor. We were making bars by hand. We were renting a kitchen in the evening, packaging them. So we were cutting them with knives and rolling pins. And before I knew it, a month, 2 months went by, and it was like, oh, we're slightly growing. Lisa, do you mind? Because you've printed orders before. And then before I knew it, 6 months, a year down the line, I'm hiring employees under me, and I blink and 2.5 years later, I've got 40 employees underneath me. I'm running our shipping department and inventory. We're exporting $80 million worth of product. And each step of the way, it was kind of like, well, Lisa, can you just because you're doing this? And so I went from being a housewife to an entrepreneur really without meaning to. But my driving force was like, no one else can do it. My house is on the line. I have to suck it up and learn how to do it. And so kind of that for me was how I transitioned from a housewife to being a businesswoman and working with my husband.
Wow. It's so interesting because I work with my wife now. And so the dynamics of the married couple, it adds an unusual stress and a stress that otherwise isn't there. When both are independently working and have their jobs separate. It's almost, I view it, maybe it's just the grass is greener, but an easier lifestyle, because for Sean and I, we don't know when to turn off work. And, it's so easy when both of the people are so ambitious to just always keep things about work, only talk about work. I'm interested, what boundaries have you guys established and set to make sure that your marriage comes first, which is an important thing for us, and your business, although it's very important to both of you, comes second?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's something that we talk about all the time. It's not one of those like have one conversation and you're done with it. But for us, it really was, okay, so what are the goals of the company, and are we on board together? So we both have to buy in. Then it's like, what is that going to take? And then we lay out, okay, well, what is it actually going to take? And doing that kind of allows me to go, okay, when Tom's away, if he's got a big speaking gig or, we're just so busy and we haven't, let's say, spent a week together, I just remind myself, okay, we've decided together as a unit what it was going to take to build this business. So there's no like animosity between the two of us if one person's working really hard, because we've both bought into it. Now, at the same time, we have to acknowledge that, yes, absolutely, our relationship comes first, but we don't have the same, we don't have the same not restrictions. So for instance, let me back up. I am definitely more romantic. I'm more needy with his time than he is with me. So acknowledging that our needs are different and our expectations may be slightly different. So I definitely want to make sure that I get date night at least once a week with my husband.
Yeah.
Now, the truth is he could go probably 2 weeks without a date night.
Yeah.
Acknowledging that from the get-go, I think is very important, because then it's like, well, hang on, do you not miss me? Right? Like, because now we've got different perspectives. I'm really missing him, thinking I haven't even spent time with him, and he's acting like he doesn't care. Now, the truth is, it's not that he doesn't care. It's just we both have different bandwidths of what that need is. So acknowledging, okay, I need more time with him than he does. I'm better at logistics than he is. So this means I'm going to take over when our date nights happen. Because if I waited for him, the truth is I may wait 3 weeks. And instead of allowing that to come in between us and in between our relationship, we've just given each other roles. So like in our business, where you have a CEO, a president, the CFO, everyone's got titles. We do that in our relationship. All right, so the titles in our relationship is I lead our romance, because I know that if it was left to him, it just won't get addressed as often. And I don't take that personally. And we sat down and we laid this all out so that we could have very clear expectations and flow, so that you're not kind of battling each other. So for instance, I said to him, okay, once a week, I need date night. I'm going to reach out to his assistant because I know he's terrible with his schedule. I'll reach out to his assistant and say, hey, can you make sure this time is blocked off so that we can spend time together? So I just take control of it instead of waiting.
Wow.
And then just one other little tip is, don't test each other and don't don't test each other and also lay out your expectations. So if it's my birthday, my husband, he's so busy and he's forgetful. And I know this about him. I've been with him for 16 years. So if I know that about him, why am I testing him to see if he remembers my birthday? And then testing to see if he does anything about it, and testing him to see if he knows what I want. Like, all of those is actually setting him up for failure. Like, bless him, I love him to bits, but I know him well enough to know this isn't where his skill set lies.
Wow.
So instead of testing him every year now, I sit down and I say, all right, babe, this is what I want to do for my birthday. I've spoken to your assistant. It's in your calendar. Right? So it's already in the calendar that my birthday and what we're doing, and I'll decide what restaurant. And I'll say, but I actually did this last year. I said, but babe, it's actually meaningful to me for you to book the restaurant. Now, it's not that I can't do it. I've got the phone number, and, it takes me longer to tell him than it probably does for me just to book it myself. But it was meaningful to me. So what I was very honest, and I said, it's meaningful. And I use those specific words so he can hear me, because I think our language is also by person is different. So I use the word meaningful. I said, it's meaningful to me if you book this for my birthday. But I know you've got a bad memory. So what I'm going to do, I literally took his phone and I set an alarm in his phone and said, book Lisa's birthday dinner. And I gave him back his phone and I said, now it's on you.
Wow.
So it's setting each other up for success, telling each other exactly what you want, making sure that you don't feel guilty or embarrassed for speaking up when you have needs. And then also being very aware that sometimes you can get rejected. Like, I may say, hey, I've got date night in the calendar and I've got all excited and, I've got everything planned. And then he's like, I've got a gig. I can't do it. So knowing that that's very possible and not holding it against the other person. Again, going back to what is the goal of your family and your company. So if he's got another gig and we have to cancel date night, I can sit there and have a go at him or be upset, or I can remind myself that we're in it together and that we made a goal together of the family and the company together. So it's not him dictating our lives. It's me saying, no, I bought into this and I agreed to it. So the fact that he has to cancel dinner to go do a speaking engagement is something that I've already agreed to. So,
wow, the level of maturity and the intentionality of the communication is inspiring. Like it gets me all excited because I mean, the Enneagram test has been, I feel like popularized now, and so many people are getting into that for business. But it's also important to realize that there's personal applications for it too, where you realize, hey, Sean's strengths are different than mine. And just
right.
because she's not strong in this doesn't mean that she's a failure or that I need to be frustrated. I just need to realize she's strong in other areas, whereas, that differs from mine. And I think to identify that and to be able to communicate and talk around that is extremely, extremely valuable. And you guys, it seems like you guys have a really, really solid system. And the level of forgiveness that you have for him, if he does forget your birthday, I think is really great how you point back to, hey, we committed to, building this business together. And that's what this is leading back to. So I'm inspired because of you. So well done.